Across Wisconsin, there are these lakes. And next to these lakes are schools. And next to these schools are homes. And next to these homes are farms. And in the middle is our state capitol. On February 11th, 2011, at 11:04 a.m., the governor made an announcement. And in that moment, throughout the schools, throughout the homes, throughout the farms, throughout the nation, time stood still.
Today, Governor Walker said he doesn't want educators at the table. He doesn't want collective bargaining for my members across the state. He doesn't want them engaged in discussions about quality. Today, the governor took aim at my values and the values many of our members across the state have. He attacked the profession and the professionals we represent by taking away hard-earned benefits and limiting their rights to a voice in their own profession. I know we didn't enter the profession for the money, but we deserve to be treated fairly, and we have families to provide for. The people of Wisconsin did not elect Governor Walker to undermine public education, but that's exactly what this attack on worker rights does. He's about to hurt really good people, the kids and their families. Governor Walker is taking aim at teachers and the teachers' union, but in fact, his direct hit is on children in schools. It is incredible to me. One of his first acts as governor is to abandon Wisconsin's long tradition of teamwork, give and take for the good of our schools and the good of our children. We are here today in the spirit of Martin Luther King, calling on our union members and all Wisconsinites to look tonight into their hearts and to listen to their conscience to decide what kind of Wisconsin we want to call our home. Tomorrow and on Friday, we are asking Wisconsinites to come to Madison. Come to Madison and stand alongside your neighbors, your family, and your friends, and help our voices to be heard. It is in the spirit of Martin Luther King and his words that an injustice, wherever it is a threat to justice everywhere.
I wish I was a teacher. I don't have the guts to be a teacher.
We're all affected by this. Our communities are affected, and we stand in solidarity.
And there's nobody that should be taking that away. Not in the dark of the night, not in the quick of 1 week.
We came down to support our teachers in this time when so much is being taken away from them.
Going to put a serious dent in the quality of life in general.
What Walker is doing is not democracy.
What he didn't campaign on, and what he now admits he didn't campaign on, was literally stripping collective bargaining rights from public employees in the state of Wisconsin. And that those things really were not related to a budget crisis at all, but to an ideological belief that public employees should not have the right to collectively bargain. Our UNISERV staff, our UNISERV leadership, our WEAC board and NEA leadership, we needed to put them in the field that weekend in order to make sure our members understood what this proposal was and how quickly the Republican leadership, both from the governor's office and the legislature, were determined to push through and strip 50 years worth of collective bargaining history. NEA Deputy Executive Director John Stocks made sure that NEA had connections to us from the beginning, and between our national affiliate, the state work, and the work of our UNISERVs and locals, we were able to put together by Saturday and Sunday a direct call to every member of our union and their community conversations about the impact of this bill on schools, on locals, and on our children needed to be very, very clear that this was not just an attack on public employees, but on working families across the state of Wisconsin. that people who had stood up for children, who had stood up for programs, who had stood up for their colleagues in union circumstances would be in peril. That's a very emotional thing, and the names and the faces are very real to me. I understand what our union contracts have brought, both for members and for kids and for education, and knowing that those were all in peril with this governor's proposal, it was real for me. It was not just a job that I had to do. It wasn't just something I had to speak out about. It was something I had to speak out about because the impact was real, the people were real. It was devastating. It was the birth of a movement. We saw not only people who were directly impacted, but people who believed that the impact on those schools and those public employees was a risk to them. This was something very new. I don't think the governor anticipated what the response of our members, what the response of labor, what the response of regular Wisconsinites who may not be public employees or unionized labor would be. I think that what happened was what gets referred to as a sleeping giant. The voice of the people was awakened. It was clear from the beginning that social media were going to be an important method of getting out information about what was happening across the state so that our members could participate. But the other power of social media that I hadn't necessarily anticipated was the degree to which Facebook would help our members feel that others were out there supporting them. WEAC's relationship to labor or other labor organizations in the state of Wisconsin had always been strong. We were in collaboration, but nothing, absolutely nothing, solidified that relationship like this crisis and the We Are Wisconsin table that has grown from that. A much broader base of support for the kind of Wisconsin we want, for what those labor unions have stood for years, but which had really been in many ways marginalized by people who didn't want us to have good health care, didn't want to provide in the workplace those kinds of benefits. That was a voice that Wisconsinites needed to have and needed to express about what they desire for their communities. From the very beginning, we knew that the Republican governor and legislature were ready to run the table on this very quickly. The crowds that turned out, both Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday and Saturday in particular, gave a voice to the workers of Wisconsin in a way that they weren't going to have by any other process. That wouldn't have happened without our members, without their communities, without all of labor and the general public in Wisconsin responding to the call and turning out to display their displeasure in a way that we hadn't seen in Wisconsin in years. There was an explosion of activity in Appleton, in the Green Bay area, down in Kenosha, in Milwaukee, here in Madison, where our locals, our uniserves, activated their members, and our members took pickets, vigils, and visibility kinds of activities out into the street to make sure people knew that something was happening, something was wrong here in Wisconsin. We are Wisconsin in a way that never became clear until we had to stand together, until this fight, which goes on despite any bill that has been passed. We are Wisconsin. We are Wisconsin's public employees. We are Wisconsin labor. We are Wisconsin's heart.
We are not going away. We are Wisconsin. Say it with me. We are Wisconsin. 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 We are Wisconsin! We are Wisconsin! We are Wisconsin! We are Wisconsin!